Hi guys, welcome to Sakai Maths. Today we are going to go through some booster questions for Foundation Paper 1. The resources are taken from MathsGem, Miss Morgan, who created these wonderful resources for us to go through. And I am now going to take it from the first question, which is going to be the top left corner. Write 15 out of 45 in simplest form. So we're just going to simplify this fraction. So I'm going to start off by writing down 15 out of 45. What I could do is, I know that these two numbers are actually going to go into 5. So if I divide it by 5, it will give me 3 out of 9, which could be simplified even further. So I could just divide it by 3 as well. 3 divided by 3 is going to give you 1. 9 divided by 3 is going to give you 3. How many meters are in 5 kilometers? We know that for every kilometer there are 1,000 meters. So if we are doing it for 5, it's going to be 5 times the amount. So you could just think of it as you're multiplying both of these by 5. And that's going to give you 5,000 meters. Find the circumference, give your answer in terms of pi. So circumference formula is going to be pi times the diameter, or you might remember it as 2 pi r, which is the same thing. So circumference is going to be pi times the diameter. If the radius is 8, our diameter is going to be 16. 16 times pi is going to give us 16 pi centimeters as our answer. Simplify x to the power of 4 multiplied by x to the power of 8. So what we do for this is that we need to add the powers, because this means x times x times x times x, and this is the same thing as x times x times x times 8 times. So altogether it's going to be x to the power of 4 plus 8 is going to give us 12. Decrease 500 by 20%. If I find 10% of 500, that's going to be £50. If I've got another 10%, that's another £50. So in total, that's going to be 20%, which is 100. So this will be taken away from the original amount because it's decreasing. So I'm going to write down 500, take away 100 is 400. Next question, find the value of 5 squared times 2 cubed. 5 squared is the same thing as 5 times 5, which is 25. 2 cubed is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. So it's not going to be 2, 4, 6. It's going to be 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So it's going to be 25 times 8, which is going to give us 200. Calculate 1 out of 12 divided by 9 out of 4. I'm sure majority of you will remember this as KFC. Keep the first fraction, change the sign, and then you flip the fraction around. Or some of you just say KCF really. So I know some of my students just say KCF instead of KFC. So 1 out of 12 times 4 out of 9, you flip the fraction around and change the sign. So that's going to be 4 times 1 is 4. 9 out of 12 is going to be 108. And this could be simplified. Both of these numbers actually go into 4. So if I simplify it with 4, it's going to be 1 out of 27. List the first 5 prime numbers. 1 is not a prime number because prime numbers are not the numbers that can only be divided by themselves and 1. And because 1 is itself, we don't count it as a prime number. So the next prime number is 2, then 3, then 5, and 7, and we've got 11. Calculate 2 out of 5 plus 1 out of 4. I'm going to write it down here so we can show what we are doing. We need to make sure that our denominator is the same. So this side needs to be multiplied with 4, and this side needs to be multiplied with 5. So we're going to end up with the same denominator. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. And that will give us 13 out of 20. Find the value of 5 plus root 81 times 4. We're going to use BIDMAS here. Root 81 is actually 9. 9 times 9 is 81. Bit maths, that means we need to times 9 and 4 first, and then add on the 5. 41. Write 100 as a product of prime factors. So 100 could be divided by 2 actually, and 2 being the prime number. First prime number is 2. We're going to circle that. 2 times 25. And then we've got 5 and 5, which are prime numbers as well. Link it back to this question. So that would be 2 squared times 5 squared. Or you could write it down as 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. We're not going to put commas in between because our aim is to multiply these numbers to end up with 100. 2x plus 7 equals 22. So we're going to take 7 away from both sides. So 2x becomes 15, and then we are going to half it. You could leave it as 15 out of 2, or you could write it as 7.5. Right, find the value of y. So when I look at this question, I should be able to see, I'm just going to use my pen. I should be able to see that this is going to be a straight line. And we know straight lines at 180 degrees. So I could find out this and then use that information for this straight line to find out y. So if this section here is going to add to 180 with 125, I can do 180 take away 125, which is going to give me 55. Now from there, I know that 55 plus y plus 34 should give us 180 degrees. And this should give us, that's 89 plus y is equal to 180. And when I take 89 away from both sides, y would be 91 degrees. Next question. Expand 6x, 2x plus 3. Okay, 6x times 2x, 6 times 2 is 12. X times x is x squared. 6x times 3, so that's 3 lots of 6x, that is going to be 18x. Right, next question. Find the area. So if I'm going to need to separate this shape into 2 sections. So I'm going to separate it from here. So I know if from here to here is 6, and this is 10. 10 take away 6 is going to be 4. So that means the area of this is going to be 9 times 4, which is 36 centimeters squared. And area of this is going to be 6 times 2, which is going to be 12 centimeters squared. And our total area will become 36 plus 12, 48 centimeters squared. Next question, find the length W. It's a right angled triangle with 2 short sides given to you. So you're looking for the longer side, which is hypotenuse. So we're going to use Pythagoras' theorem. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are the 2 short sides. So 4 squared plus 3 squared equals w squared. 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, so that's 25 is equal to w squared. Inverse of squaring something is square rooting it, so I'm going to square root both sides and it will give me 5. So the length of w is 5. Now, Ben and Tyrell share £55 in the ratio of 2 to 3. How much does Tyrell get? So Ben gets 2 shares and Tyrell will get 3. So altogether we've got 5 equal boxes that 55 needs to be divided into. So if I do 55 divided by 5, each box is going to be 11. And this means Tyrell's going to get 3 times 11, which is 33. Now I'm going to move on to solve question, and then I'm going to make my way up to this cylinder. 5x minus 4 is equal to 3x plus 12. So this means we balance the equation by getting rid of the smallest x first. So we take away 3x from both sides. That's going to give us 2x minus 4 is 12. Add 4 to both sides. 2x is equal to 16. And if we half it, 8 would be 8. X is 8. So we have work out the interior angle of a regular octagon. So it's 8 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the shape. What you can do is, you know, the exterior angles of this shape, which is like these little bits, should give you 360 degrees. And there are 8 of them. So if I do 360 and divide it into equal amounts, so my aim is to be able to find out what the exterior angle is, and then from there, because exterior angle and the interior angle will create a straight line, I would be able to find out what the interior angle is. So if this is 45, let's say one of these is 45, and I'm just going to use a different pen. This bit here, along with the 45 we found, should give us 180 degrees. So if I take 45 away from 180, that will give me my final answer, which is going to be 135 degrees. Expand and simplify. You could use grid method or you could use FOIL. I'm just going to be using this method here. So let's go up to you. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 5 is 10. So x squared plus 7x plus 10. So we collect the like terms and that becomes 7x. Find the volume of a cylinder with radius 4 centimeters and height of 10. So I usually write these informations down so I can see what I'm dealing with. So the circle, which is the face, that's been repeated 10 times to create the 3D shape. So if I find the area of the circle and times it by 10, I will be able to find out what the volume of the shape is. So we know area of the circle is going to be pi times radius squared. So that is pi times 4 squared, pi times 16, which is 16 pi. And this 16 pi is repeated 10 times. So for the volume, we'll end up with 160 pi. Right, factorize 5x squared plus 20xy. So 5 and 20, 5 goes into both of these numbers. And x squared, xy, there's x on both sides, so I could just factorize it into this bracket. So 5x times something is going to give me 5x squared. If I times it with x, it will give me 5x squared. And 5x times something is going to give us 20xy, and that would be 4y. And I'll put the bracket around. Find the area of this triangle. We should know that the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So the base is 12, height is 4, we'll half it. 24, I was just about to use centimeters, but they didn't give us really, so I'm just going to write unit squared. Lucy flips 2 fair coins. What's the probability she gets 2 tails? So tails and tails is what we're looking for. So and in probability means times. I've got half a chance to get tails, so that's going to be half times half, which is 1 out of 4. What's the gradient of the straight line with equation y equals 5 minus 2x? So coefficient of x is going to give you the gradient, so it's going to be -2. What type of correlation is shown here? So it's going up, isn't it, guys? So it's going to be a positive correlation. Okay, if A is 6 and B is 4, find out negative A, negative B. So that's going to be -6 take away 4 is -10. -6 plus 4 is going to be -2. A, so that's 6 plus -4. So plus -4 becomes take away 4. So that's 2 then. 6 take away 4 is 2. And then we've got 6 for A, take away -4. 2 negatives, we've got a positive there. So 6 plus 4 is what we are looking for. So that's going to be 10. What's the lowest common multiple of 8 and 6? Okay, for 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and so on is what I have. For 8, multiples of 8 are, oh, it was 24 then. The lowest common multiple in between these two numbers is 24. I scored 24 out of 40 on a test. What's that as a percentage? Okay, so 24 out of 40. We want to write this down as a percentage, so we want to write it down as out of 100. So we could divide both of these numbers by 4 or by 2, then go up to 100. So if I divide it by 4, it gives me 6 out of 10, because 24 divided by 4 is 6, 40 divided by 4 is 10. And to bring it back up to 100%, we could times it by 10. That gives you 60, so that's going to be 60%. 3 cubed is 3 times 3, that's 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Of course, 3 squared is going to give us 9. 3 to the power of 1 is going to be 3. Any number to the, or a letter to the power of 0 is going to give you 1. And this is your 1 out of 3 is the same thing as 3 to the power of -1. It costs £150 to buy 9 games. So if 9 games are £150, in order for us to go down to 1, we could divide it by 9, or 9 and 12, 3 goes into them. So I could go down to 3 and then times it by 4 to go up to 12. So in order for us to go down to 3, we need to divide it by 3, which is 50. And then 3 times 4 will give us 12 games. So that's going to be 4 lots of 50 is £200. Right, multiply 2 times 10 to the power of 5 by 7 times 10 to the power of 8. So 2 times 10 to the power of 5 times 7 times 10 to the power of 8. I'll do the numerical values first, which is going to be 2 times 7, that's 14, times 10 to the 5 times 10 to the 8. We add the powers, it will become 10 to the 13. But we need to remember that this term here is going to be in between 1 and 10. So in order for us to make that in between 1 and 10, so it's going to be 1.4, which adds another power to your number, so that's going to be 10 to the power of 14. Find angle A and give a reason. So this is a straight line. That's reason number 1. got a straight line, which means we could find out that this is going to be 65. Straight lines at 180 degrees. So if I do 180 take away 115, that's 65. So straight lines, and this is alternate angles. So that means 65 is going to be the same thing as A. So A is going to be 65. Straight line, add to 180, and we've got alternate angles. So solve 15 is less than 3 plus 6x. We're going to take 3 away from both sides. 12 is less than 6x. We'll now divide it by 6, and that would become 2, which means x is greater than 2. Just reading it this way. Okay. If a man walks 1.3 kilometers in 15 minutes, what is his average speed in kilometers per hour? This is really important because they've given us in minutes, but they're asking for hours. So we should remember from your science lessons as well that distance over time is going to give you speed. The distance we're looking for is in the same unit as what we should be working out, which is going to be 1.3. Divided by time is 15 minutes. In hours, that is quarter of an hour. And quarter is 0.25. Okay? So we could just use this and find out 5.2, or you could write down 15 minutes, 1.3 kilometers. We want an hour. So we can go from 15 to 60 by timesing it with 4. So if you times this by 4, it gives you 5.2 again. So that's how we can find out for 1 hour. So translate the point A by 3, -2. The top number is representing the x-axis, which means you're either going towards right or left. If it's positive, you go to the right. If it's negative, you go towards left. The bottom number is representing y, which means you're either going up or down. If it's positive, you go up. If it's negative, you go down. So that means this point should go towards right 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, and down 2 steps. 1, 2. So this is where point B would be. Factorize x squared plus 9x plus 8. I want to times 2 numbers to give me 8 and add to give me 9. Well, that would have to be 8 and 1 then. Name each type of sequence. So I've got 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. So this is Fibonacci sequence then. If in order for you to be able to find out the next term, you have to add the 2 previous terms, it's called a Fibonacci sequence. 3, 7, 11, 15, 19, 3, 7, so it's the same number added on each time. It's adding 4. That is called arithmetic. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Well, they're timesing it with 2 each time, so it's doubling. This is called a geometric sequence. Find the length of the edge of a cube which has surface area of 54 centimeters squared. If I have a cube, which I'm going to draw it here for the visual learners, each side has to be the same. Okay, so I've got 6 faces, and the area of each face is going to be x times x. That's going to give us x squared, but we've got 6 of them. That should give us 54. So inverse of 6 lots of x squared is times, we're going to have to divide which x squared is going to be 9. And to square root both sides to find out what x is, it's going to give us 3. Okay, our final question. X squared plus 6x. Solve. So we can factorize this into an x bracket. And this would mean that x is equal to 0. Or x is equal to x plus 6 is equal to 0. So you solve it, it becomes a negative of what you have inside the bracket. So that's going to be negative 6. So that was our final question, guys. Good luck on your exams and hope you get the result you deserve to achieve. Well done for today and have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.